welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're embarking on a really unique exploration, one that's tailored specifically for you, the learner.
hmm
You shared a very personal piece with us, reflecting on a friendship you rediscovered, and, well, our goal here is to sift through it together.
Right, to kind of highlight those resonant moments, maybe uncover some, unexpected insights about human connection
hmm
and spirit.
Exactly.
So the learner gave us this really fascinating glimpse into reconnecting with someone, Paul Sides, after what, 2 decades apart?
20 years, yeah.
And this isn't just, a story about friendship. It feels more like a lens, doesn't it? To look at genuine connection resilience.
And this idea of our individual sparks, that's intriguing, the sort of essential energy we carry.
Mm-hmm. That inner light.
So our mission today is to really dig into the significance of this reunion with Paul. What can it teach us, about connecting deeply?
About how those bonds can last across time.
Yeah, and about these sparks, what they are, how they endure. Okay, let's dive in.
Okay, so it starts with this pretty surprising meeting in Hawaii, 20 years of silence, then suddenly they reconnect.
Wow.
And what's immediately striking, according to the source, is the strength of that connection right away.
Like no time had passed.
Almost exactly. It's described as a flow resuming, like a river that just starts flowing again after being blocked for a bit.
That's a great image.
Yep.
It makes you think some connections just have this underlying current, don't they?
They really seem to, and it sounds like a big part of their original bond. Maybe what allowed that current to restart so easily was their shared history.
They were twins. The source calls it a shared origin point, a fundamental resonance. That's deep.
It really is that kind of innate understanding right from the start. If you think about connection generally, shared experiences, common ground,
Mhm.
that often weaves the strongest threads initially.
For sure.
And for them, it was also amplified by this mutual love for surfing, described as being dancers with the ocean's energy.
I love that phrase. Dancers with the ocean's energy.
Yeah.
Like two people finding a rhythm together in something much bigger than themselves.
Exactly. That shared dance, that shared flow, it creates a powerful link. So
Yeah.
when they reconnected later,
Paul made a really strong impression. He came across as a truly genuine human being, a rare and beautiful frequency.
yeah,
So what does that mean, though, to be a genuine spark in this context? What does that actually look like?
well, the source seems to suggest it's like an authenticity, an inner essence shining through without masks, without pretense, like a clear radio signal, maybe.
Joe Static.
Right. And Paul apparently embodied this aloha spirit, love, peace, compassion. And this wasn't just internal, it radiated outwards.
Yeah, we know that.
While the text mentions he had lots of friends, people were drawn to him, his authentic, positive energy was magnetic, it seems.
It makes you wonder, doesn't it, how often we kind of dim our own spark, put up those filters.
It really does. And tied into this genuineness, apparently, was a lack of ego, or at least a perceived lack of it.
Right, ego as the construct of the separate self, which, if it gets too big, can block connection.
Exactly. So Paul's lack of ego, what does that suggest? Maybe someone less focused on, me, myself, and I.
And more open to shared experience.
That seems to be the implication. The source suggests his spark was vibrating closer to the frequency of the universal one. It's a bit metaphorical, but...
Like tuning into a bigger harmony, maybe? Less focus on the individual note, more on the whole song?
yeah, something like that. Moving away from self-centeredness towards a shared existence. It's an interesting thought, right? Maybe less separate self actually means more connection.
Definitely something to ponder. So their bond grew stronger through these early morning surf sessions.
In Hawaii. Beautiful setting.
But it wasn't just the fun of surfing together, was it? There was more going on.
No, exactly. Paul actually mentored you, the learner, in surfing, shared his knowledge of the local waves, the currents.
Ah, so that passing on of knowledge, that guidance.
Yeah, that deepens things, doesn't it? Mutual learning, helping each other out, sharing expertise. That builds really strong ties.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And let's not forget, the source mentions his great sense of humor. That feels important, too.
Oh, definitely. Humor is vital, right? For navigating life, for connecting with people, finding lightness, especially when things get tough.
It really is. It kind of greases the wheels of interaction.
It does. And it's compelling how these, seemingly simple things, surfing, learning, laughing, built such a profound bond. It wasn't just big dramatic moments.
It was the consistency, the shared time.
The shared time, the presence. But then their connection also went deeper, didn't it? into spiritual territory.
Yeah, this shared spiritual quest, trying to find God or the source, that shared search for meaning.
Exploring those huge fundamental questions together, I mean, that creates a unique kind of closeness, a real energetic connection.
It must. It builds, as the source says, love and brotherhood.
Yeah, when you're grappling with the big mysteries side by side, you're connecting on a really vulnerable and intimate level. It cuts through the surface stuff.
Gets right to the core of being human together.
Mm-hmm. But then the story shifts. It takes a more somber turn.
Right. We learn about Paul's battle with cancer. 5 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's framed, interestingly, as a physical manifestation of disharmony linked to this universal rhythm of like expansion and contraction, life and the other side of it.
That's a heavy concept. But what's truly striking is Paul's reaction, or lack of reaction in a way.
That's what stands out, isn't it? He apparently never complained about it, maintained gratitude and acceptance.
Incredible. Facing something so huge, yet keeping that inner spark, that perspective.
It really speaks volumes about his inner strength, his resilience. It makes you pause and think about how we react to challenges, you know?
It really does. There's this sense of gratitude expressed just for having known someone like that, witnessing that grace.
That resilience, yeah. The enduring power of the spirit, as the source puts it. It certainly makes you reflect on our own capacity for facing adversity.
And cultivating that kind of inner strength.
And then the narrative moves towards his passing, but it's not framed as an ending quite, more like a transition.
A return.
Yeah.
His body to the earth, his spark back to the greater ocean of universal energy.
It's a perspective focused on continuity, not just cessation, which feels consistent with everything else described about him.
And the way his life was celebrated, this huge party at the beach, hundreds of surfers.
Yeah.
That sounds amazing.
Doesn't it? A real celebration of his life, his energy, apparently fulfilling his wish to cherish life, not mourning, but celebrating.
A vibrant tribute.
Yeah, and it shows how his impact, his energy just continued to ripple out, even after he was physically gone.
The source mentions still feeling his presence, that enduring connection within the web.
Right, this idea of interconnectedness, how one life touches so many others, and that influence doesn't just stop.
Like threads in a tapestry continuing on.
Exactly. And those final words mentioned in the source, Paul, wherever you are, I love you, aloha. They're seen as these vibrations of love sent out into that web.
Wow. Like the feeling itself continues to resonate.
Precisely. Paul is remembered as this luminous knot in your history learner, a reminder of genuineness, resilience.
It brings to mind that quote you shared earlier from the Zoran.
Ah, yes. Death is but a change in frequency, human. The song of a genuine spark echoes in the cosmos long after the instrument is silent.
That really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? The lasting echo of an authentic life.
It does. It offers that broader view on the legacy, the essence that remains.
Okay, so now, the learner, we want to invite you to take a moment for a bit of personal reflection. We're calling it Dragon Trial, the enduring resonance.
Yeah. Just take a moment, maybe think of someone in your own life who's passed on, someone whose unique spark, really left a mark on you.
If you feel comfortable doing so, maybe just close your eyes briefly from near memory forward.
Try to sense their presence, that energy they had. Do you feel a lingering echo, an impression that's still there?
Just acknowledge that connection, the love, the impact. It's still part of your own web woven into who you are.
Maybe take a second just to feel some gratitude for that resonance, that it continues.
So as we kind of wrap up this deep dive into your reflections, learner, let's just quickly revisit the key things that surfaced.
We saw the power of rekindled connections, didn't we? How strong they can be.
Definitely. And the impact of a truly genuine spirit, like Paul's, that authenticity.
And the resilience shown in facing huge challenges, that grace under pressure.
And finally, this idea of enduring energetic connections, that things don't just end with physical presence.
Right. It extends beyond that. Which leads us to, I guess, a final thought for you to carry away.
How does recognizing these enduring resonances, these echoes, change how you view your own relationships? The ones you have now and the ones from your past.
And maybe think about what specific sparks, what qualities, what connections you are consciously trying to nurture in your own intricate web. Something to think about.